Well, hello, my YouTube family. Sarge, back at you. Something a little different. I think my lovely wife of the hot cocoa, it is snoring outside. I currently have my setup, the Wilsonton R300B integrated amp. I'm thinking it's probably been in the setup, I'll say 2 or 3 months. And I love that it's a single index class A all tube integrated amp slash power amp. So you can use it both ways. You can use it as an integrated amp. You can do a switch of it on the back and turn that into a power amp, dedicated power amp. I paid $1,200 for it a year ago from China Hi-Fi. You can also get it on eBay. Now, I keep saying eBay, not eBay, Amazon. But you're going to pay a little more for it on Amazon because of the shipping fees and the whatever tax you got to pay to bring it from China to America. But it's time to put in a new or a different power amp. What I do, I collect power amps. I love power amps. Out of all the components, my favorite is the power amp. I think I have total in-house now about 22 or 23 power amps. I got 2 of these McIntosh 275s. So that 2 stands for 2 channel. It's a 2 channel power amp. 75 stands for 75 watts. So this is a 2 channel power amp that put out 75 watts. But you can also put this amp. Got a little switch here that says mono stereo. You can put it in mono and add a second 275 and create 150 watts. Which I usually run this amp and the other one in mono mode. Now if you run it in mono mode, you want to use the same identical input tubes, driver tubes, and output tubes. Now you see I have one missing. I dropped something on this tube and it exploded. So these are Ruby tubes, Ruby KT88s. That I purchased from Dr. Bonnell. So now I'm down to 7 of them because I lost one. But I decided to run this amp in stereo mode. So I'm not going to buy the same identical tubes. So I'm going to run this in stereo mode. And I bought some different output tubes off of eBay. We'll get to that later. Alright, but I'm going to pull out the... Alright, first of all, let's run through this. You got 2, 4, 6, you got 7 miniature tubes. I think 2 of these are... let's fire both the manual light. And I got to do some of my glasses. You got to kidding me. Hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I got 20 pair of glasses around the house. I have a pair sitting right here. Old age. I am 66 years old. So let's start with the input tubes. All right, the first 2 are the input tubes. They are 12AX7A. These 2 are input tubes. All right, the next 2 are 12AT7. They are driver tubes. This next tube is a 12AX7A That's an input tube. And the final two are 12 AT7s. They are driver tubes. So the input tubes receive the signal from the preamp. And the input tubes, they send a signal to the driver tubes. So these tubes all up here are input tubes and driver tubes. What the driver tubes do is drive the output tubes. They send the signal to the output tubes. So input tubes sends the signal to the driver tubes send the signal to the output tubes, and the output tubes drive the speakers. So this amp is a little dirty and filthy, so I'm going to do a little cleanup on camera. I have these jumpers in, because when you run this in mono mode, you got to put in jumpers. So we're going to take these off, because when I set it back up, I'm going to run it in stereo mode. Little switch here says mono, stereo. I'm going to put that in mono. I'm going to put that in stereo rather. It was in mono when I had both of them driving one per speaker. Now it's going to be stereo mode where this one amp drive both speakers. Mono mode is probably best preferred because you got complete total separation between the left and right channel. You got one amp driving one speaker. That's the ideal setup, but stereo mode sounds good as well. You got a switch here for balance or unbalanced inputs. These are your unbalanced RCAs. These are your balanced XLRs. I'm going to be using XLRs, so I'm going to leave this in balance mode. So balance mode, stereo mode. Here's this power switch. And this is 75 watts into 4 ohms, 8 ohms, 16 ohms. It's still going to be 75 watts. The power stays the same. All right. Some amps, if you cut the ohms to 4 ohms, it'll double the power. Sometimes it goes down to 2 ohms, it'll triple the power or whatever else, so it'll give you a little bit more. But the McIntosh amps, they are steady across the board. Whatever ohm you get, it's going to get 75 watts. I got a MC 402 in the room, 400 watts per channel. Same thing, 4 ohms, 8 ohms, 16 ohms. Whatever speaker you use with it, either it's a 4 ohm speaker or an 8 ohm speaker, it's going to get the same power. Now the McIntosh tube amps have transformers. The transformer is the gap between the output tube and the speaker. So from the output tube, it's going to go to the transformer. That's going to control the tube going through the power amp. So you got the transformers left, right. This is the power supply in the middle. All right, so you got two output tubes per speakers. These two output tubes on this transformer. This transformer going to match the speaker with the tube, the transformer. Now this would be two tubes, one missing, but we're going to fix that problem. So a little cleanup. I'm going to pull out the input tubes and the driver tubes. See a little small pins, but there's a little gap here. It's a little gap there. That's how you know when you install this, how to install it. It's a little gap here, and that same gap is on the power amp as well. So that is input, driver. And a lot of people put rings on the tubes to damp the tubes. Some stuff from the microphonics, whatever that is, and stop the tube from vibrating. So you call these tube dampers. I call them tube dampers. They're called tube dampers. I mean to mine so the tube don't vibrate or get excited from the room itself, from the speaker itself. All right, so all the input tubes and driver tubes, all right? We'll pull out the rubies. Output tubes should be 4. It's only 3. I love this McIntosh, way McIntosh amps are built. You got this black, you got the chrome. You can see this. This thing is heavy, like 70 pounds, and all the weights in the back because of the power supply and the transformers. That's beautiful chrome, but it's a dirty chrome. So I usually get a little Windex, spray on my cloth. I don't spray it directly on the amp. Just want to get it a little moist. And just go over the amp. Get the dust off. It's a beautiful amp, but it collects dust like a magnet. And I love McIntosh products. I have 2 of these, 275s, have the power amp. I had the, I bought this in 2010 from Overture's Ultimate Home Audio right here in little old Delaware. I bought this one in 2010 from my late great consultant, salesman, or salesperson, how you want to say it. And he became a great friend of mine, Mr. Joe Jessup. He recently passed away, I think a year ago, in a biking accident. When I got the news on that, it really hit home, because he was more than a salesman. He was a friend. Whenever something came in, McIntosh, or whatever, if he thought I was interested in it, he would give me a call. So I bought this one first. It looks a lot better. I bought this one first. No, I bought the MC4 too first. That's the solid state 400 watt power amp. And he sold me that. And when this came available, he sold me this. Then he sold me the second 275. And also the preamp, the McIntosh C2300. 2 pairs of Martin Logan electrostatic speakers. I had a pair of Aries Eyes. I had a pair of Prodigies. I sold the Prodigies to get my dream speaker, which was the Wilson Audio WAP-8, which is still in the room. So I'll take a little cheek tip to get the nick and crannies between the transformer and the power supply. It's not going to be perfect. You don't have to be. But that looks a lot better. All right. Now, the output tubes, power tubes. This came from China. I think that's, you can see that. Lindley, I hope I'm saying that right. Lindley tubes. Now, Lindley is a company that came out of PS Vane. And PS Vane is a company that came out of Shugang, or Shugong. I hope I'm pronouncing these names properly. So, first it was the biggest tube manufacturer in China was Shugong. And the engineers in Shugong, some of them had different ideas and different ways to do things. So they broke off from Shugong and they started PS Vane. And the same thing happened in PS Vane. some of the engineers at PS Vane had different ideas on ways to do things, so they left, and they started this company, Lindley. I purchased tubes from Qigong years ago. I got tubes here now from PS Vane, and I bought some tubes from, I got tubes in there also from this company here at Lindley. I like the way these tubes sound. I like the way that the tubes look. They're beautiful tubes. They look good, they sound good. All right, so this is the 4 KT88s that I'm going to put in the output stage. I've got McIntosh MC275. Let's take a look. Sometimes I use gloves, sometimes I don't. So that's the Lindley tube. KT88 output tube. All right, it's gorgeous. So I'm going to place this tube. It's a little pin here, a guide pin. As you can see that or not. It's a little groove in the input slot in the amp. You line that up. Push down on your tube till it's nice and snug. I do that with my hand. Not normally would come back with the cloth, wipe the tube down. All right, so that's one of them installed. This is tube number 2. Same thing, push down on it. Make sure it's seated properly, seated tight all the way down, so you don't have no issues later. All right. So the left channel, these two, you're going to drive this transformer. And this transformer is going to be the impedance or the gap between the output tubes and the speaker. I hate to pull that Wilson 10 RS300B out of the setup. I mean, that little amp is 8 watts of power. And that amp, it rocks. It rocks. If I have so many amps, I just take turns on my amps. Depending on what mood I'm in. If I want to go solid state or I want to go tube. Most of my amps are tube amps. I love tubes. Because it's a lot to do with nostalgia, history, how vacuum tubes were before transistors, and a lot of people got away from the vacuum tubes when transistors came out because they had more power. There was a lot smaller. And but I'm a tube man. I love the sound of tubes. I really do. So I got more tube amps than I have solid state amps. So my 4 output tubes are in place. Brand new Lindley KT88s. I'm going to put these back in. The driver tubes and the input tubes and the way I took them out. So this came out last. This is the KT87, not KT. It's AT87. This is the driver tube. That little gap in your pins, you gotta line them up real carefully and put them back in. I know a lot of folks, friends that I know also, they kind of hate on McIntosh. See, why would you hate on McIntosh? This company been around forever. Before I was born, and I'm 66. And not only do an amp have to sound good for me to purchase it, you gotta look good. And you're not gonna beat a McIntosh amp as far as looks goes, amp or preamp. Yeah. Now, if it looks good and sound like crap, that's something different. But these McIntosh products are drop dead gorgeous. And they sound awesome. The 2-channel, I got a control center in there for 5 channels, and that amp sounds good in 2-channel mode. I don't know. I'm not one of them guys who, I don't know. If the, don't be a hater. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't like McIntosh. I don't know. If it can produce music and sounds decent, I can get with it. Yeah, but a lot of folks, I don't know, all this negativity about products that produce music. The main thing is not the equipment, it's the music. If it can make my music touch my soul and touch my heart, I'm good. So forget about the equipment. The main thing is the music. So I'm installing the last two input tubes. All right. So I'm gonna have to go in the music room. I'm going to shut down the Wilmington R300B. Unplug that. Now that amp was $1,200. This amp, I can find the owner's manual. I actually have everything in the owner's manual still. So when I bought this, you put in the date of purchase. So I bought this amp, date of purchase, 4/18/2010. So I had it for a while from Overtures, and that's the serial number. I also have in the back of the book the receipt. All right. So this amp, I paid $5,000 for it in 2010, and I gave a deposit of $30,000. Came back, gave a deposit of $30,000 over the phone to hold it. I picked it up like 3 days later, for a total of $5,000. This is in 2010. And what I like about McIntosh, I paid $5,000 for this in 2010. You go on eBay, or I get most of my stuff from Audio Gun. You probably find this same amp for around about that same price. I'll say $4,000, $4,500, and some even $5,000 for this same amp. I think this is a version 5. I think 6 is out now. You probably get this same amp. I probably could sell this amp for $4,500, if not $5,000, and I paid $5,000 for it. So McIntosh products, McIntosh baby. McIntosh products hold their value. If you buy some stuff nowadays, as soon as you leave the store, it's like an automobile. It depreciates immediately. But I guarantee you, I can almost get what I paid for this amp, and I bought it in 2010. It's like 70 pounds. It's heavy. Like I said, most of the weight's in the back. It's kind of awkward to pick it up. 70 pounds. You got your transformer for your left channel. These two. You got your power supply, and you have these two I put to use for your right channel. What else can I say about it? You don't gotta bias it. You don't need no screwdrivers. You don't need no voltmeter. It's self-biasing, which I love. You ain't gotta fool with that. It does it automatically, just like the Prima Lumis. Knock it off. That's my Conde Corso. It's drop dead gorgeous. What else can I say? I got two of them. I got the McIntosh solid state 402, 400 watts. I have the McIntosh CD player, which is the 55. No, sorry, what it was. I think it's the 550. Yes, the 550. MC 550. I have the preamp 2-channel stereo C2300, and I have the preamp control center MX 135. I have the DAC MC 1000. I have a MC 26 C2600 power amp, 135 pounds. I sold that bad boy. I paid $3,500 for it from Overtures They got it in used, and Joe called me. I went and picked it up, $3,500, and I sold it on eBay for $4,500. Yep. So I love McIntosh. You know, I don't care what other people say. You do your own thing. And you want a McIntosh product or any product, make your own decisions. All right, Sarge, USMC, my new tubes and my MC275. I'm going to unplug the Wilsonton R300B. I'm going to put this in. Now, this should be a step above the R300B. Like I said, I paid $1,200 for the R300B from China Hi-Fi, and this cost me $5,000 in 2010, and it's McIntosh. So I expect an improvement in my sound quality when I put this in versus the Wilsonton. And this is a dedicated power amp. The Wilsonton is a integrated amp. $1,200. China Hi-Fi. This is the big boy. McIntosh 275. This amp is iconic. Probably one of the best selling amps that McIntosh ever made. And still in production today. I think this amp was put out, if I'm forgetting, probably late 50s or early 60s. And this same amp, McIntosh 275, and it's still in production today. Still in production today. It's McIntosh. They have a long history, and I like that about McIntosh. They've been around forever, been around longer than me. I love companies that have a history like that. That's why I love also Audio Research. I think they came out in the 1970s. And they're also a big tube company. So I have a bunch of McIntosh in the room. I have Audio Research. Recently purchased a LS 28 SE. I also had a VT100 power amp from Audio Research. And I had the VT80 SE as a power amp. So I had this McIntosh that has Audio Research. I also had Conrad Johnson. I got two Conrad Johnson power amps, all tube. I had two Conrad Johnson's power amp solid state. I had three Conrad Johnson's preamps. I had a Conrad Johnson DAC, Conrad Johnson CD player, Conrad Johnson funnel stage. So them three companies alone I love because of their history, their longevity. It's not a fly-by-night company. So I got high stakes in McIntosh, Audio Research, and Conrad Johnson. And I got some new guys. I got Dan Wright's KW. That's my tiny cursor with a squeeze toy. I got My Right Instruments KW 150 SE power amp. And I have My Right modified my Oppo 205 DVD player with the two output tubes in the output stage instead of solid state. They converted that, and also come with an outboard power supply. I got a moderate analog bridge. I have the moderate analog PH 90 phono stage for my BPI turntable. That's about it for mine, right? I love Dan Wright. Nice guy. I love what he's doing. I got 10 years on Dan Wright, so Dan Wright's a young kid in my book. Who else I have in there? Somebody about Pass Labs. I love Pass Labs. I love Nelson Pass. I have an XA30.8 power amp. I have a Mark Levinson 335 power amp. And a boatload of Dynaco ST70s, which I will be giving away. I have a Van Alstyne 2 power amp. I have a BAT VK55. I have 2 musical fidelities, A51s, Class A. Oh, and they get hot. I have a music fidelity KW 500 integrated amp. That thing's a beast. It's the power amp and outboard power supply. That's all I can think of right now. All right, guys, I'm going to throw this in the system. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys, all of my new subscribers. Thank you guys for the comments. It's got a few negative. Most of them is positive. I don't care about that negative stuff. Hey, bring it on. One guy told me if you don't know what you're doing, you ought to. This is on Christmas Day. He said, if you don't know. So he asked me a question about a show I went to. And at Overtures. I went there for the magical. Now, this was the premiere of the Auto Research M160 premieres of the M160 power amps, monoblocks with the ghost meters on. By the way, my favorite power amp, if I had the money that I could afford to get them, my favorite power amps as of a few years back is the Audio Research M160 monoblocks. When I heard those amps on the Avalon Acoustics speakers at Overtures, they blew me away. And I said that's my favorite power amp as of right now is the Audio Research M160s. So I was there for the M160s. I didn't pay much attention to the preamps that were driving them. It could have been the, I don't know, Res 6 or Res 5. I really didn't pay attention to the preamps. And the guy asked me what preamps were being used. I said, I really don't know. It probably was the latest. It could have been the Res 5 or the Res 6. So he made a statement, if I don't know what I'm doing, why I started an audio channel. I said, hey, Merry Christmas to you too, brother. All right, I'm signing off. Sarge, USMC. Name of the channel, Mix Match Stereo. Thank you guys once again. When I first started taking this serious, I only had like 227 subscribers. 227. I didn't really take it seriously what I was doing, but I got more into it, more involved in the channel, more involved in what I was doing, trying to put out a better product. So I went from 227 last year. I think I'm up down to like 780. So thank you guys for your input. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for tuning in. Got a lot more to come, baby. All right, Sarge, USMC. All right, Semper Fi.